if they think of that of me and they're giving me this responsibility, they expect something in return, which is a performance. And that's the pressure you put yourself on then, and then more and more pressure builds. I've got these guys around me. These guys have played, they've won European Cups, they've won Six Nations, they've captained Lions teams. These guys expect me to be one of the best today. You know what I mean? If they're putting me in this position, and that brings out the best in you, I think.
So Peter, what's the crack with yourself? Where are you at home here today yourself?
I'm at home at the moment, yeah. At home, we're on a day off today. We're training Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday this week. So recovery day today. Because
we were chatting to Keith Earls yesterday. We were doing something for Barry Murphy there yesterday for House of Rugby, and he was saying, I think he said he was off to Kilkee. I think he said just for a night off to get away from it all for a bit.
Yeah, I don't have the luxury now of having a summer home, whereas he has plenty of money now to be buying second and all that kind of stuff. So I'll stay.
He was talking about the because he said you guys used to do the 1K test, but he said it's not only is it Broncos, it's broken Broncos. Have you had to do that as well?
Yeah, we were the same boat there now all week. So I'm not built for long distance. I'm firmly short distance, and even at that, I'm not particularly very good either. So, career-ending stuff, that Broncos.
Did you get in under? Because I think Richie McCaw is just under 5 minutes. Did you get in under that mark?
I think Richie's 4:30. I think. Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was a long way off Richie McCaw now, unfortunately.
And it's just it's probably because I heard up at Ulster it was the scrum halves are doing quick for them. Is it the same for you guys?
Scrum halves and back three would cover a lot of distance in games now. So they're crazy, ultra fit. These guys are.
Yeah. And how have things been going for yourself the last 4 months now? When the weather was good, you're probably out in the garden and doing a good bit of stuff, but it's changed a bit the last few weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit mixed, right? It's funny, as soon as the lockdown was lifted, the bad weather arrived. So I know it's great. Look, obviously from a gardener's point of view, you need a bit of rain as well.
And it's an interesting one because it's it's almost like folks chat about yourself as well. Like it's almost and I see that Dove series that you did as well. It's like the little kind of obsession that you have to get away from everything. It's almost become public knowledge now at this stage.
Yeah, I suppose it's worked. It's gone 360 now, trying to get away from things. They're all trying to get into the garden all of a sudden. Look, it's. I was lucky that I had the garden over the last few weeks. Some people were, don't have that luxury, unfortunately, and it was. I had a lot of things to get done, and I had a big long list to take off, and I'm getting through some of it now. I suppose the first time having a break in a long time to have the window to get things done, and it's getting there. There's still plenty to go.
And does it feel like, in terms of normally if you guys even get a break, it might just be 5-6 weeks or something, but is this the first proper break you've had now in a while since you started around 10 years ago?
Yeah, it is by it's multiples of the normal break that we would have got. There would be no professional rugby player anywhere would get a break unless, again, there's been a few people take sabbaticals, and it was like we were all given one, to be honest. And it was kind of good timing for me, to be honest. Body wise, mentally, it was good timing for me to get a rest. And we spoke about trying to take positives out of it. That's certainly a positive that I'll be taking over the last few weeks.
And did you get anything, did you start up anything new over the last few months? Like, were listening to anything new or reading books or anything, stuff you said you wanted to get done that you never had a chance to do before?
Yeah, look, as I said, we sat down the first couple of weeks, myself and Jess, and said this can go one or two ways. We can go mental, or you can just take as many positives out of it and try and make a difference and try and do something different. So, we had little goals to get through, and obviously I got stuck into the garden in a big way. Starting to grow some of our own food now and that kind of thing, which is great. Starting to get some grub out of it. We did lots of stuff differently, and in lots of ways it'll make things different for things going forward. Some things that you took for granted that you won't be doing anymore.
And what was it like getting in then to see everybody? I think it was the start of last week. To even though you're in your pods, you're starting to at least see people again that you might have just been seeing over Zoom for the last while. Was that good to have a bit of connection with people again?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It's something that is what attracts, I think, you as a kid to the game, is particularly team sports, is the crack, you know what I mean, and then hanging around with guys. And it was great to get back and get to meet guys again and, share. There wasn't a huge amount of stories to be had, but, share the crack again and get back into it. It was a long time at home, and it was good to be back, to be honest. Yeah, it was good fun.
They're talking about, it's ongoing, all this kind of world's, the global calendar and stuff like that as well. But it may come to a situation where one season might roll into the next as well. Like, is that something that might be weird to get your head around if it happens, that you might go from a 3-week break and you're in from one season to the next? Yeah,
look, it's there's obviously, it has put pressure on the calendar, this window, and look, that's for World Rugby and the different representatives to try and sort, along with the the players associations, I suppose, to get that right and to get that, I suppose, as doable as possible for everyone, because it's there's lots of different things you need to take into account when it comes to playing through seasons like that. Player welfare, player game loads, training loads. What you want to see is good rugby and fresh rugby players, not people getting injured and people not playing well as a result of been playing too much rugby. But I think certainly from our point of view with the RFU, we are very well managed with regard to game minutes and training time, playing time, breaks, that kind of thing. So I think we're one of the luckier ones around the world with regard to being looked after like that.
When it comes to I know there's all talks going on with Rugby Players Ireland and the RFU as well, and there was stuff came out in the Irish Times a couple of weeks ago about potential for further cut and stuff. Do you have a seat at the table in that as Munster captain and involvement in Rugby Players Ireland? Would you have a say in that, or would you get to represent the players in that at all?
Yeah, I'm on the board with Rugby Players Ireland, so I'm gonna, with regard to anything along those lines, I'm gonna kick that to the curb, because I'm obviously a little bit I suppose I'm in the middle of that at the moment, so I'm just gonna stay away from that.
Yeah, it's just kind of something to hopefully, because I remember Rob Kearney was saying something similar as well. It's like, let's not kind of do the negotiations out in the open as well, because it looks like it's kind of all out war in a way over in England, but at least maybe in Ireland things are a little bit more civil.
Yeah, I've said as much as I'm going to say now on that topic.
Yeah. I saw recently the likes of Ardy Savia was out playing with his club, and even Dan Carter's going to get back and do a bit of that. Would you like if rugby did get a bit of a revamp, to see a little bit more of that stuff, like get lads from the provinces going back and playing with their clubs every now and then?
Yeah, look, I think it's great to see. I think the hard thing is, like you've just mentioned, the window now of rugby that's going to be when it does come back playing. It looks like there isn't even going to be a break with regard to a weekend, not a mind. You know what I mean? A few weeks here and there, and it's just hard to get time to see windows for people to come back. Certainly, there's times for guys to get a game with clubs, potentially if there's a long-term injury and there's a break in play for whatever reason with the pro game, or say there's an international game window on, and a player might need a game time and there's no provincial game at the weekend. There's certainly windows for that, and I think there's a standard there that would allow for a professional player to go back in and to get a good competitive game. So there's definitely windows, but it's trying to find them at the moment, is with the way the game has gone professionally and the way the game's coming thick and fast. It's finding a time to get in there is the problem, really.
I'd seen yourself. I was like, even from looking back and reading up about yourself, like that Cork Con team that you're involved in. Did you get to play many games in that 2009-2010 season when they won the league?
2009, 10. I came out of school in 08, so I would have won in 10. Yeah, it was that the year we won the double.
Yeah.
I played all that season. Yeah, I played in nearly all that season. Yeah, when I wasn't playing with Munster, I was playing every weekend with Con. We just actually had our 10-year reunion. Was supposed to be in during the lockdown. Con were playing a game. I'm around the corner from Con, so we were having a reunion of the double winning team in Con, but unfortunately we didn't make it. We were supposed to play Treviso at home the night before in Musgrave Park, so we had a Zoom call and a few beers instead. So it was good to catch up. They were great days. Incredibly competitive rugby, like serious games every weekend. And you look at the teams that were playing with the people that were playing. A lot of professional players came out of those teams, and great memories, super memories.
And we had Killer was on the House of Rugby show with us there a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about that Munster A team that kind of came together, and the likes of Archer and Nagel and Connor and yourself was all part of it, and just how there was such a tight bond from that kind of Munster A side, and he was remembering how feisty some of the training sessions were. Like, you guys all fancied yourself as a team back then, and a bit of a crew.
Yeah, I suppose. Like, we got a good window when the lads went away to the 11 World Cup. That kind of that autumn, winter, and I think we won 5 or 6 first games in the Pro 14 or the Pro 12, whatever it was at that stage, and we put guys under pressure, international players under pressure to get back into squads. It was the bulk of that A team from that year had made that step up to the senior team, and it was it stood to us for a long time. There's still a lot of us playing for Munster who would have come through that group, and would have gone on to play a lot of games for Munster and Ireland as well. So it was it was an important couple of years for the development of our own players.
I was looking at I think your debut was the away game against Ulster there. I think it was the start of 2010, but good Munster team that went up to play them as well. And can you remember much around that week, and all that was involved in it, and when you kind of found out that you'd be playing against them? Can you remember back much about that game?
Yeah, nerves more than anything. Nerves all week. I remember coming on for Quinny, and stressful times. Doesn't get any more stressful than that, to be honest. To that, and your first cap for Ireland is they're great to get them done, but it's torture with the expectation you put on yourself, and that's put on yourself from teammates and that kind of thing. And look, to be honest, it's more yourself than anything. But it's looking back, it's great. They're great memories to have, but lots of stress involved.
We spoke, I think, when I spoke to you last year, I think it was before the World Cup, just a little bit about your captaincy and all that kind of journey you went through. But I was looking at that team that probably a lot of talk would have been about maybe you, because you'd captained Munster A and captained all the way up. But I think you're 21, just a couple of weeks before maybe your 22nd birthday, when you captained Munster for the first time. And I was looking at that team that they put out, and there was the likes of Stringer, and it was involved. Doug Howlett was playing. Marcus Horan was playing. Can you remember even back to that, and what your thoughts were as a kind of young lad that you've been given the captaincy in Munster for that Dragons game?
Yeah, I suppose obviously I captained a lot of teams before that. It was a different animal, obviously, going to a senior Munster team, but there would have been a lot of times I would have spoken to Paul even before I played for Munster. He would have been on to me about this and that, and at the time I probably didn't realise he was doing his little shaping of me, you know what I mean, in regard to for coming on, and that stood to me. I wouldn't say I was never phased in training. I was completely taken aback by my first few sessions and seasons with Munster, training with guys that I would have had posters on my wall at home, a few years previous, and then all of a sudden I'm in the middle of, training sessions and matches with these guys. And so at the time, I probably took it for granted a little bit. I would have done a lot of work on it, but it just probably felt natural, but at the same time very unnatural, as you said. Strings probably would have had 80 caps for Ireland, maybe more. Marcus, something similar, but it probably said to me as well that, where they thought of me. But again, that comes back to putting pressure on yourself then, because, if they think of that of me and they're giving me this responsibility, they expect something in return, which is a performance. And, that's the pressure you put yourself on then, and then more and more pressure builds. I've got these guys around me. These guys have played, they've won European Cups, they've won Six Nations, they've captained Lions teams. These guys expect me to be one of the best today, if they're putting me in this position. And that brings out the best in you, I think. And, they were good times as well.
And is that something that you've got better with coping with over the years, the stress? You talked about the expectations on you. Have you found a way to kind of live with it now, and not let it get on top of you as much?
To a small degree, but it's still, the expectation is massive. In Ireland now, we expect every one of our provinces to win every week, and we expect our national team to win every game. And the players expect that as well. So, losing is not taken well by anyone, particularly, poor performances resulting in losses is just, it's not acceptable anymore. And, kids are growing up now seeing, Leinster winning, seeing Ireland winning. It creates an expectation of even the younger guys coming through now. They expect us to win. They don't expect us to lose. So that pressure has been built from lots of angles there as well. So it's it's hard to deal with all that pressure. And I'd never say that I've come up with a solution that I don't get stressed about it. I get stressed every week about performing and winning.
You're talking about the kind of young lads coming through and how well the young lads and stuff as well have done too. I was kind of having a look at the last year earlier this year when the under-20 squad and the Ireland squad was named. There was just maybe I think 3 people from Cork in the 2 squads, the senior and the under-20 squad. But there definitely does seem to be a next generation coming through from Cork. You just look at that squad now and all the academy contracts and senior contracts, and whatever they've been doing there in Cork seems to be working, because there's a nice glut of lads coming through now in their early 20s that look like they're good prospects. Yeah,
there is. It's great. Cork prides itself hugely on its sports people and teams. Football and hurling teams, soccer teams. Competitive, have an incredible history there. And I think you look at the people we've produced in West Cork recently. Bandon, Bantry. There's an incredible amount of guys who've come through over the last maybe 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, all from West Cork, so they've got a great ground and they've got great people down there looking after them, and they have an incredible work ethic, which is sometimes taken for granted when you come in. And these guys are pushing standards, pushing levels as young men, and it's great. It's great to see. It's great to see, obviously, from a selfish point of view, coming from Cork, because obviously I'm a very proud Cork man, but it's so important from a Munster point of view, and an Irish point of view, to have players coming into academies, that have grown up in the local area, that understand the club, and essentially will go on to play international rugby is what your academy needs to be producing. And there's certainly calibers of players coming out of our academy at the moment who have no doubt will play international rugby.
And yeah, the whole thing about, like, I know there would have been the disappointment the week before of the, you know, losing against Racing, you know, and knowing that you weren't going to go through to the knockout stages. But then the week after, to kind of go and play Ospreys and put on such a good performance, and I think 5 lads made their debuts as well. Like, you know, looking on and being around that squad, that must have kind of picked up the squad a little bit and let them know that, like, there's, you know, there's some positives there as well.
I don't know. There's lots of positives, and there's guys coming out, as I said, who are you know, they're super rugby players. You know, some of them who are now becoming obviously guys like Craig and Fineen. You know, the Liam Coombs, Gav Coombs, all both West Cork as well. Shane Daly, these kind of people. You know, Shane has played a lot of rugby for us last year and has been class. You know, there's lots of guys who are Dermot Barron is a hooker who's coming through from us, who's you know, leading standards as well. You know, so these guys are going to make a difference, and there's lots of guys who I haven't named there who are sticking their hands up as well from an academy point of view and development, and guys coming into senior contracts. Alex McHenry. You know, these guys are going to make a difference. I passed a few of them over the last few days, the academy boys, and they've turned into small monsters over the last few weeks. Thomas Ahern was kind of a long second row, and all of a sudden now he looks like an international second row. He said he moved in with his mother for 5 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever, was eating 5 times a day and doing nothing but gymming, which is a great luxury to have. But look, it's great. It's great to have these guys coming through, and you know, as I said, you know, the country and the provinces need these guys coming through.
So yeah, probably I'll just wrap up with a couple of things. I just wanted to first chat to you about Greenaware there and all the kind of work you've come in to kind of help highlight as well. Yeah, what is it you know, just let us know a little bit about that. That'd be great.
Yeah, look, they're obviously a well-established brand, and I think for different brands coming out, different people, it's important that they fit, and I think this company really, I suppose, fit well with me. Obviously, I have a big tie to the environment through the garden, and I'm really quite passionate about it. Even with regard to recycling and that kind of thing, I've been on plenty of people's back in Munster already about putting things in the right bins. I would have given our nutritionists a lot of hassle over having the wrong plastic being allowed in certain bins and this kind of thing. And look, it's all small things, and the small things make a difference. And I'd be very passionate on that. And these people seem to share the same passion with the product they've come up with. You know, the difference that changing from single plastic to I suppose the technology and the thought that they've put into things like their bags that will, you know, that'll make such a difference, you know what I mean? Not just to the environment, to the animals, all this kind of thing. You know what I mean? To have something that will degrade properly. It's a small change, you know what I mean? And it's easy to do for people, but it's important that we do little things. And I think it's important that we do a little bit more learning as well. People need to understand what they can and can't put in their bins, and you know, make that little bit of change, because that's, again, is something small. And you know, I've gone about trying to teach Indy what to put where, you know what I mean? She does her own little bit of composting now, you know what I mean? And that'll be good for her for forever, you know what I mean? That'll be just what she does rather than having to learn about it, you know what I mean? That's just second nature, and that's really important for I think, you know, if we want to make a difference in the future, they're the people we need to train the most.
Yeah, perfect. And the last thing was going to be something that's a year away, but you know, at the moment a week seems like a year. At the moment everything is so far away and up in the air. But chatting to Jacob Stockdale around a month ago, or 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he was, you know, we mentioned the Lions to him, and he just openly would say, "Yep, I know I have work to do. I know what I want to do. I want to impress Warren Gatland as well." Maybe that's just because he's, you know, young and he lays all his cards out on the table. But it's something that's on everybody's mind over the next year. Like, you know, for you who's went and captained the Lions as well, like something that you'd love to, in a year's time, if everything went well, to head off on that tour again.
Look, I wouldn't sit across the screen from here. I know it's weird across the screen and say that I wouldn't love to go, but you know, it's just so it's just not on my radar at the moment. You know what I mean? You'd always have it in the back of your head, and I used to, you know, when I was small, I used to write down that I'd love to play for the Lions. But I mean, now being in the game, you know what I mean? There's so many different variables. You know what I mean? If I can get my body right for training tomorrow, you know, have a good speed session tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's my goal. You know what I mean? Do well in the fitness. You know, lift more in the gym tomorrow. That's what I'm worried about. It's really not looking forward to too far ahead. You know what I mean? We play Leinster on the 23rd of August, and that'll be my next game, hopefully, if I'm fit and selected. But you know what I mean? I have a lot of training to go before that to get myself right, and that's paramount for me, really.
Perfect. Well, listen, good luck now over the next while and over the next few weeks, and hopefully I might be one of those lucky ones that wins the lottery to get in there and see you guys play as well.
Yeah, it'd be great.